All right, let's get going. It's week number 8. Can you believe that already? It's been 8 weeks, and that means episode 8, Markets Podcast, coming at you once again. Ton to get to this week. It was Fed meeting minutes this week. It was all about tech once again. Downside, spoiler alert, it was a...
You're really getting into this real quick.
It was a red week, Sean. We haven't had one of those in a very, very long time.
Didn't we just have 5 straight down days? And then today, what did we finish today, actually? I was just too busy about that.
I think the NASDAQ
was
up
actually, 0.15.
Yeah, it was actually positive. The S&P, if you're joining on the weekend, welcome. Hi. Hit the like, hit the subscribe down below. We are recording this Friday after the close.
It's quarter after 4.
Here is the, 4:15 already. Here is the NASDAQ. Yeah, big ugly red candle there. This is a weekly chart, FYI. So we're looking at 3.12% downside on the week. Yes, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, call it, to the upside, possibly. I mean, the S&P as well, red, just to make it official. The Dow, no one cares about it, but hey, it was green on the week.
I feel like I focus way too much on the NASDAQ. I'm glad you brought up the S&P there, because we've seen financials go absolutely haywire. Healthcare and everything like that definitely being affected these days. I feel like the risk is in the NASDAQ. Ever since Apple, and we're going to get to that, and again, you know, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for supporting it. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and all of that fun stuff. Let's put this podcast where it deserves to be. You're going to see me and Brendan a little more natural with these podcasts, right? And this is why we're doing it now. Me and you actually joked about doing the podcast during market hours. And then I was like, yeah, let's do that.
No
we all got places to go on Friday night. And then Brendan turns over to me and he goes, nope. There's no way we're going to be able to do this, because I can't. I was trying to sit here and make notes. I'm like, oh, what's Apple doing? What's Apple? And then I said to Brendan, I wrote down like 3 or 4 notes on my thing here, on my, I was going to say sticky note, but on this notepad. And I didn't even get to it because the market was open. But the market's now closed now. But yeah, banks with a huge move. The XLF, we really like that. I really like XLV that we talked about last week. But I think honestly, man, I just think as the mighty falls, we got that downgrade from Barclays that we're going to discuss. And I just think that if Apple's not going to hold sort of water here, then the market is heading to the downside. Right? And
Piper Sandler too, jumping on the back of Apple this week, talking all kinds of negativity.
And what was exactly that thing that hit at the end of the day? There was going to be a class action lawsuit against what, the App Store?
No. It's
what was it?
The U.S. government on a antitrust. That's the word.
Antitrust.
That's the word I was looking for. I wanted to show this real quick before we get into individual names. I saw this pop up right at the end of the day. Again, we're recording this, guys, Friday after the close. This is the worst official start to a year for, I think this is in the NASDAQ. I'm going to say this, this is the NASDAQ. So capitalization specifically year to date. So this is officially the worst start to the year. Capitalization change since 2003. Look at that chart. This is an ugly chart. 3.18 trillion has come out of stocks and bonds
in 1 week.
No. This is the worst start to the year. Since
it's only 1 week.
Since 2003. It's getting ugly in a hurry here, but we have to remember what happened going into Christmas and going into the end of the year.
There was a profit taking, right? We talked about why would anybody want to pay. You had the NASDAQ up 50 plus. You had the S&P just slowly behind it, or a little bit behind that. The S&P was 1% away from all-time highs. You know, with the potentially, I feel like this coming year we're going to have kind of like economic just calm. Like, we've had so much turbulence. I want to have a year where we don't have to worry about it. We're still going to worry about it, but where inflation's not always on our mind, and core PCE and what's going on with unemployment, it's always going to be a part of the market. But volatility has been really, the VIX is super low, man. 13, 14, 15.
Lower than that.
Lower than that. Like, you know, we're going to, exactly. We're going to have to come off of that level at some point. And what's going to cause that? I honestly would rather it just be, Brendan, earnings. Let's just go back to what company stories really are. Right now, I mean, if you come over to my screen right now, the Magnificent Seven here, you just talked about it, prominent ones. Look at this, down 5.5% Apple, down 4.5% is Tesla, down 4% is, Amazon, Tesla, Alphabet. They're all here, they're all heading to the downside. And again, I just go up, it all could just be profit taking. There's the VIX right now, historically low. You know? So, I mean, you're running into some areas here that it's just, I feel like it's profit taking. We all hit out in Apple, we all hit out in Amazon, we all hit out in Google. Why? Because they're cash generating machines. And we wanted to have companies that can produce cash flow, shout out, okay? So the thing is that those companies did that. We knew we were in a bull market and the market just took off. This is what bull markets do. They pull back. It's actually, ready for this? Healthy.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
100%.
that numbers and that number that you gave of the trillions, the more and more that I think about it, that's actually the first time maybe I didn't do my research. I actually didn't see that graph. The thing is that of course there's that much coming out because of Apple's in 332 ETFs.
Yeah.
Of which it's a top 15 holding in every single one of those.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, as there's some pullback in this market, yeah, you're going to see Apple taking it down. I mean, shares outstanding, the 3 trillion market cap. Yeah.
Here's the other side of this conversation and the other side of this argument, essentially. Coming off a year where we had money markets producing 5+% returns, there is still, I mean, it depends on where you look, but there is still trillions
on the sidelines.
sitting in money markets still.
That's the sidelines.
Waiting for a reason to be put back into higher risk assets. We went into this year with the narrative of, don't worry, the rate cuts are coming. That has, in a week, it seems,
I have stats for that.
shifted somewhat.
I'm gonna have to go through my notes.
Wait for it.
I'm not even gonna go. It was 74% chance. I memorized it, Brendan. Right, I did my work, Brendan.
Okay, I'm down.
You know, not only did I make 300 trades today, I'm ready for the damn podcast again. Hope you guys are having fun.
74% what?
It was 74% chance of a rate cut.
Right.
In March.
Right.
At the end of December, the last week in December when everything was rallying like
crazy. The high was
crazy.
86.
Was it? That's what I was going to ask you if you had that number.
Yeah.
It's down to 63%.
Yeah.
What if they don't cut?
Exactly.
You know, and I think that today we got a very, we're going to talk about some of the numbers that we've gotten through, but jobless claims better.
Yeah.
Today, the unemployment better. We had that number tick over 200,000 jobs today in NFP.
I mean, you say better, but like let's preface this for anyone who's saying, okay, a higher number. Yes, it's better. More people are getting jobs for the market in this current state and in these current conditions.
Better for the market, no?
More people are working. It's looked at as a negative.
I know.
Because the underlying strength in the overall economy is still there, it brings back what if the Fed doesn't cut rates? What if some of these, and we spoke with...
But why does the stock market, like the thing is like, we're always fighting the Fed. Why do we have to always fight the Fed? Like, we know they're gonna cut. So why are we projecting 6 rate cuts? We're going to talk about the FOMC minutes again, or maybe we're just doing it right now.
Yeah.
They said 3 cuts. They basically projected the dot plot was 3 to 4 cuts. I think it was 3 cuts. All of a sudden, you pull the CME rate tool out, and it's 6 cuts. So it's like we, the street or traders or people that are forecasting this, why are we so aggressive? Why do we think they're going to cut so much more than they already are? And I give you the answer to that is because the Fed seems to not know what they're doing a lot of the time, and I feel like that is what the market sentiment is. They overshoot all the time. They overdo everything. Mm-hmm. Did they need to raise 500 basis points? I don't know. Did they go too far? A lot of people think they went too far. Yeah. So people think they'll correct too far as well.
But too far. I mean,
we're at peak employment.
The GDP reading last time was 4.8% in the U.S., and that was coming off an interim print of 5.3%. So the overall GDP, the actual growth is still massive. Right. So the underlying strength in the overall economy, even though inflation is where it is still higher than I think a lot of people are expecting.
We talked about it last week. I don't think it's an inflation game anymore. I mean, I still do think inflation is going to be part of it. We've had a lot of the things that matter to us come back a little bit. I feel like, we talked about your egg guy. I feel like eggs have come back a little bit.
They did, yeah.
Despite you paying $9 for oat nog or whatever it was. I feel like there is, oh, by the way, maybe this is a little too personal.
Okay.
Remember last week you paid blah, 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 blah for toothpaste? It was like $48 or something?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm getting too old. Maybe I shouldn't say this, man. I'm too old.
Say it. Do it.
It's called Prevident.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. I think it's preventing, So
preventing dentures? Is that what we're talking about?
Ramin, honestly, Ramin, I'm going to get off this seat in a minute. Man, to have these kids age again. No. So I went to the dentist. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, Brendan. No dentures. Oh my God. 44 years old. Dentures. I have like 4 cavities my whole life.
What's
okay, what am I getting at?
Yes, please.
Okay. Was that I had to switch. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
It's just he said maybe I should try this Prevident and it was $7. So I got it. But you know what I did though? This is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, so I was okay though. But I think a normal toothpaste is it's
in that neighborhood now.
I think it's like
six
extra fluoride. He was just saying. Oh man, where's that okay boomer thing?
Look,
he was just saying as you get older, the enamel in your mouth deteriorates.
Yes.
That's all.
Dude,
So
I use Sensodyne. I'll say it right now.
Sensodyne. Okay, that seems like that's for old people.
No, it's $9.99.
Now that's good. Prevident is for old people, but Sensodyne's all good. Okay, the thing about it is the story here.
Yeah.
I didn't go to CVS. I didn't go to Walgreens. There's reasons why I didn't go to those places because we're in Canada.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to Shoppers Drug Mart. I didn't go to Rexall. I didn't go to Walmart.
Where'd you go? Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Because you know what? The thing is, dude, it was relatively affordable. $7.
Brings it right to your door.
That's Ramin's extra spicy latte, extra whatever. That's fine. And how convenient was that? It was literally there the very next day. I'm surprised it wasn't there same day.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, that's where I'm leaning towards. We could talk about all this market pulling back in, but I think there's going to be value, and I think it's going to be in some obvious.
And the other thing with Amazon is you can get, when I looked, it was 3 or 4 pack for essentially the same price as one.
Oh, it's
at Shoppers
crazy. That's the same thing with Costco, man. I love Costco.
Just quickly, I wanted to mention.
Toilet paper.
I mentioned to Ramin the name Lance Bass today.
Yes, NSYNC.
She said, and I quote, "I have no idea who that is."
Is it NSYNC or is it something else?
No, it's NSYNC.
Oh, it is. I was lucky because it could have been. I knew it wasn't Backstreet
Speaking
Boys.
of being old.
Wasn't Lance Bass in the news for something? Is that why were you guys talking
No.
about
We were just comparing.
Talking about like fishing and then there's like smallmouth bass.
But yeah, she had no
I assume she knows Justin Timberlake.
She has no idea who Lance Bass is, so I feel old. Anyway, let's talk Fed minutes.
I went to Travis Scott last week. You know Travis Scott? Yeah.
We got a thumbs up. Let's talk Fed minutes, as you mentioned. That was the start of the week. Was Fed minutes way back on Tuesday?
Yeah, that seems like a hell of a long time ago.
And it came out two-sided in a sense that most of the comments that we heard initially were very hawkish, but there was then some let's save this by saying, I think we've done enough across the board. So the market ends up taking that as a little bit negative, saying that there is still some concern from some of these Fed members that they still haven't done enough. We then get the JOLTS number. We then get the ADP private payrolls number. We've talked about this in depth on the show. Come and join us if you're seeing this for the first time every single day when the market's open on YouTube. And yes, don't forget to do that. Subscribe. Overall, everything was pointing towards this non-farm payrolls print. Hold on, let me grab this graphic here and we'll show you what happened if you missed it today. Here is the initial jobless claims. First off, comes out a little bit higher than expected, lower than last week on a week-over-week basis, but a little bit higher than expected. This then is the big one. This morning we get this NFP print, 216,000. The expectation, depending on where you looked,
why are we expecting so low?
Was 150 to 170.
This is so rigged, man. Honestly. And did you see the
I mean, you say that, but every single month, they revise the prior month, typically in the direction that everyone thought it should be anyways. And that was the case with November, but it doesn't matter.
And I was actually calling that. Remember, as this market went down, I actually lost on the short. I thought the market was gonna hit there. Look what happened when this number got released. Big move to the downside here on the triple Q. So there's the NASDAQ, flushes down and goes red like 0.5% or something like that. And then just almost immediately, we talked about that, just bought right back up, and then the market opens and then it start to fall back a little bit there. But I don't know, it just seems to be uncertainty. I think unemployment is the thing to look at. I've sort of just shrugged off inflation. I still think that's big, but we talked about core PCE. We talked about that coming into the level that they were expecting. I cannot believe that we're already back in sort of in control with inflation now. I don't know if
it has a 2 handle.
I know.
Like what do we want?
Well, it didn't have a 9 handle at the worst.
Well, that's CPI. PCE.
PCE. Not 9 on that.
Yeah.
CPI up there at 9. But the thing is, everything's coming back in. Yeah. So I just made some notes here. That, the jobless claims comes out hotter than expected. Then today, NFP comes out hotter than expected. Obviously, I think it's going to get reversed, and we'll find out what's going on. But the thing is also, because of this, the 10-year crosses again back above 4%.
Yeah.
And I think that's what worried a lot of the markets here. It's not just one thing to look at the S&P 500. You got to look, here, we can look at the TLT today. You're going to see a move in, TLT. Too fast for the computer here. And again, look, same kind of a movement here happening throughout that. So if you're going to look, here's a TLT downside, then upside, then tries to follow the market the rest of the day. So again, we're still trying to figure out what's going on with the 10-year Treasury. The fact that it's back above 4, and you talked about cash being on the sidelines. Do you stay in there for 4%? I don't think so. I think the market in general will beat 4% this year. But there is a lot of money sitting there. And then as I look at this notes, could they still cut? Yes. I think they could stall once they're looking at some of this information, because what else are they going to base it on? The Fed is supposed to be number specific, economic data specific. So as we continue to be concerned about this, it's now 64% chance. You mentioned that was the mid 80s, high 80s was the highest we got for the cut.
Back in December.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at 60%, and I think it even falls after this. So we'll wait to see. I still feel like, why is the market up? Why is the market up? And the thing is, we can go back and forth about the Fed and all that. Remember this, we talked about this last podcast. We've been through world wars. We've been through housing crisis, all this kind of stuff. The S&P 500 still winds up on average 10%. If you are in this for the long haul, I still feel like you can buy these dips. For me, I want to wait for the numbers to come out. We have CPI still to come. There's a few different information points coming through. What do you think about the Fed?
It's getting to a point, and I even said this too, shout out to Frank Caberna over at IG.com. It's getting to a point where I'm not sure it matters. It definitely doesn't matter in the same way it did at one point, but I'm not sure it even matters much at all. And you were alluding to the fact that inflation, I think, is handled.
They just say don't fight the Fed. We knew when they talked about raising interest rates, the market absolutely tanked. We saw that. And then now we know that they're going to be cutting interest rates. So
it's a matter of when.
Yeah, I just think you wait for it to happen, and you don't need to push all in. You don't need to do anything. You could just wait on the sidelines. There's a lot of attractive stock right now. We talked about XOM. We talked about the energy space, where you can sit around, get capital appreciation. If you think the market's going to go 3, 4, 5%, then add on top of that any dividend income you could possibly get. So if you think it's going to be a relatively slow year, the other thing that we're not talking about that the Fed could possibly look at, and they're not supposed to, but what about the election? There's going to be a lot of sort of back and forth rhetoric there that could affect the market more than rates could. So we'll see here if there's going to be some talk about China. We don't even know who's running yet for each side of the aisle.
It's pretty clear, but
but it's not announced. Is it announced officially?
It's more or less official, but we won't get into political talk, but go back and watch the last podcast, because we did touch on market performance, historic market performance years, on election years. Here is said Fed funds tool, just to make it official. 93.3% right now for January. Nothing is going to change. There is 6% in favor of a cut still. If you go out to March, as you were saying, like 60, 62, 63, around there, depending on when you look at this, that we do get a quarter point. There's a chance, I think, even before we get to that, remember on the 12th, I think it is, or 11th or 12th, we get CPI, the latest inflation reading. So there's a chance that even before,
be lower.
We got to go to the end of the month before we hear from the Fed first. So there's a lot of time for this to even, as you just said, get lower.
Yeah, we've had guests on our show saying that basically, in the third, fourth week of January, as people prepare for what's going to come with the Fed. It's January 31st, right?
Yeah,
so we'll see that at 2 p.m. We'll get that number, and I think you just trade it accordingly. I feel like once we're there, then we'll know. Right now we're just projecting that there's going to be a cut. As you approach closer and closer to 31st, that 63% number will change closer to 100 or whatever once people get certain of what's going to happen. And I think that does happen in the following weeks when we get some CPI readings and just some more positivity. I think economically positive numbers, like we discussed at the beginning of this podcast, not necessarily positive for future outlooks of the market. Just buy Bitcoin.
Today, there was actually a headline at the end of the day there. I don't know if you guys caught that. The SEC is going to actually vote on this ETF. What the structure of the rules is going to be next week. So
that's what it was.
We'll get that next week.
SEC approval.
If you go up to the end of the year, I wanted to show this because this is still important. This is December of this year. So this is 375 to 4. Where the top of this bell curve is pointing to, which still indicates
125 points. Right?
Exactly, 100 plus basis points need to come off according to what the market is pricing in right now. So a lot of work potentially.
You think they ever cut half a point? Are they just going to go quarter?
They could, and I mentioned that to Frank as well, in the sense that
could be something.
Remember when we went up? It was 75, 75, 75, 50, 50, and then a whole bunch of quarters, and now we're just sitting here. Yeah. So.
They had to do that 500 points in 1 year.
It is insane.
You only have, 7 meetings a year or something like that? So 8 maybe? But anyways, yeah, look, I just think you stay the course. I think you have to have a plan of action, and you have to understand that heading into an election year, heading into where we have problems in the Red Sea, we have problems with possible energy prices, Tesla's not performing properly right now. Apple's catching negative news. The market is definitely a little bit at a tipping point. I think and I mentioned Bitcoin there. It's had a huge run, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do take something off, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin coming through here.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's not a panicking situation yet.
No.
The market was huge. Anybody,
Still is.
Hold on a second. I'm just going to go back here for a second. So even despite everybody wondering what's going on, we are back to Christmas Eve levels.
Exactly.
This is the 23rd, 24th, right into here for the NASDAQ. So it's like, if you sort of maybe drank too much oat and eggnog and rum or whatever, and you're just waking up right now, probably too late, maybe you had to been in a coma or something, you would have been like, oh, the market's fine. You didn't have to worry about that last little dip.
Yeah.
So I think we had a great move up. Santa Claus rally ended real quick. And now we just have to pay the piper. And I think there is some tax possible selling happening right now. The market's up high. I think we continue the rally into the new year. My prediction, and we've had this actually, I'll have to find that view. I think the average analyst expectation for the S&P 500 is around $4,800.
Which is, hey, guess what? Right here.
Yeah, so it actually implied, when I saw this stat earlier on the middle of the day, it implied a 1.3% move higher.
Yeah, and we were talking about that last time. Go back and watch the last episode as well, in the sense that on election years, I think if you go back to, what was it, that graphic that we showed was like 1960 or something.
Yeah, there was something. No,
there was
more.
There was 2 years. Yeah, it was even longer than that. There was 2 years that were negative. And typically, Michael Noss was suggesting that typically election years can be a lot of back and forth, a lot of wide range, but do typically end positive. Elections are always in November. You get the clarification of what is going to come going forward. Once people get that, they feel more confident, they feel happier, they get back into the market.
What about, and I don't have the stat, I don't have the chart for this, but what about the fact that January is supposed to be the best month for stocks? We do have that chart.
Not so far.
Not so far. So I think that's what's scaring a few people away from some of these trades, is that it just hasn't worked out the way we all thought that it would. I remember what it was. It was 15 elections on that chart that we had, and 2 of them, 2 out of 15,
were negative.
So that's what it was.
I'll take that any day.
But I thought we had talked about it, that was generally historically the case. That if you go back in the 100 years of the S&P 500 or whatever, it's something like the market's up like 75% of the time, or I don't know what it is.
All right, let's, we beat that to a pulp, I think. But let's.
Brendan, I want to talk more Fed. No, I don't.
Go on to more exciting things.
Let's see what the next topic is.
Like Tesla deliveries.
Ooh la la, now we're talking.
Tesla once again crushing.
Cybertruck in
absolutely
the garage.
Crushing deliveries. 485,000 for the fourth quarter, bringing their total for last year to.
I was looking at a Tesla today. You might have heard me talk about that.
1.8 million. You're going to buy a Tesla?
Yeah.
Which one?
Model 3. I don't have money. I'll buy the Model 3.
No, I only asked because Model Y was actually the most popular and the highest sale number last year. So a lot of people.
Yeah, so we have like a bigger car. I have the Atlas for the fam.
Yeah.
So we travel all the time. Like I said, man, we have a game tonight, so that's hockey. I have multiple hockey bags. And actually, my car is fine, but I was just thinking like, I travel back and forth. It's 11 kilometers for me to and from work. Today was like 21 minutes to get here or something like that. I feel like I just never pay for gas again.
Exactly.
Because like I don't drive it very far, so I was just thinking I'd plug it in every night, charge it up, and that's that. And get a Tesla, whatever. But no, look, very proud of Tesla. It's an American company. I think it's done really well. You've seen it move all the way to the upside. 1.8 million deliveries, just crushes everything else. We did have BYD. BYD did have a bigger delivery number, but as we know, 1.6 million of it was electric. The other part was hybrid.
Yeah.
So this pure electric car, Tesla's still the #1 business there. And what I wrote down was 40% growth year over year 2 years ago. This year, 38%. So although the deliveries beat expectation, they still are underneath their growth number from the year before. And I think that's what's worrying a lot of Tesla owners, is the fact that they're just not growing at the same pace.
The stock, you mean?
The stock.
Yeah.
Sorry, the stock. Yeah. I don't think people driving the car worry too much about how many people are buying them. But the other thing is too, that game is also over, because now they're producing so many cars all the time. The resale market, still hot, but maybe not as hot as it was. I feel like the Cybertruck, didn't they make people sign that where you can't get to wait 6 months before you turn that over? I don't think the Cybertruck, not that I don't think, the Cybertruck wasn't even in those numbers, Brendan.
No.
Because it's so low.
They don't know yet.
And they don't produce a whole lot of them, so it's not going to like tip the scale, but that is going to be something.
Yeah.
I feel like with BYD, their price point's near around 30 grand US for some of their cheaper models. I feel like Tesla needs to get into that business. And then once they do that, man, the sky's the limit. But for me as a Tesla shareholder, we all know it's about FSD. To me, it's about full self-drive. It's about where we're going. It's about the data. It's about the AI. And honestly, it's about the man that controls the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
The guy's smart. He's come up with huge ideas in the past. Why not do something again? And I just like Tesla. But margins. With more competition, Brendan, you have to get a little bit more sneaky with your pricing. And in order for Elon and Tesla to sort of wave off competition, what they've done is they've attempted to squash them by bringing their prices down and saying, why ride around in a $50,000 GM Squirt or whatever it's called? That's not what it's called. Leaf? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Neither do I. That's the point.
Exactly.
That's the point, is that nobody knows. Oh, smart people know. We don't know. Well, what about the F-150? Something like that, you know? And they just come out and say, look, I'm going to put the Cybertruck at this price point because we can. And Ford, if you're going to start selling F-150 Lightnings, you're just going to take a hit on them. So I like the fact that Tesla can move margins. They're the only company that can do that.
And we saw that in the last report. It came back to, I think it was 9% off of a 18 print.
They slashed
the prior quarter, so it was a big dip. And it was exactly because of that, the price adjustments that they've been making.
All around the world, every country they sliced.
Our very own at Trader TV, Randy, was telling me a story about him visiting a friend at a dealer just north of the GTA. And he was saying that they had multiple parking lots absolutely chucked full of Model 3s.
Hello?
So
I'm trying to buy one.
Said Model 3 customer should have no idea getting, or no problem getting whatever it is you want for.
Which color would you get? So the one I was looking at was white, but there's this really nice, because Randy was like, oh, you get white. Randy only buys white vehicles.
I know.
There's a really nice blue one, not like Sharif's Pepsi blue, but there's like a metallic, I don't know what it's called, but that's the hot one. That's what I'm looking for.
I mean, there's so many options now. Like, it's the new model, right? The new version of the Model 3 with the new front, and those are finally
trying to buy used.
Starting about. Oh, okay. But if you were in Mark, there's so many options when it comes to color. Anyways.
But I mean, they're producing like a car every 20 seconds or something like that. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And this is the place to go. I like Tesla. Cars are really reliable. They keep getting like Car and Driver, like they win awards for safety and this and that. Did you know, and the thing is I don't know the stat for human-driven miles. There's an accident reported or FSD kind of messes up. It's not that they're like, there's one death or anything like that. But it's for once per every 5 million miles of FSD driven. Like, they have all the stats. They have all the stats.
But that's like saying, you know, I think it was, what is it? More people die from getting hit by lightning than in plane crashes in 1 year.
You do?
Yes. Check me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's something along the lines of that. Like
maybe more shark attacks. Remember there was something, every time Shark, you watch Shark Week?
No.
What? On Discovery or whatever it is?
No.
I don't know why I was so surprised, but
anyway.
Okay.
But that seems huge.
They
to
show
me.
sharks like coming up into like the beach and everything.
Those videos when guys
I
are
hate that.
guys
like,
are
now
in the
I'm not going to
cages.
Florida ever again. Would you do that?
In a cage?
Yeah.
No chance.
Well, obviously you have to be in something.
No chance. I
How
wouldn't
about, like,
even
one of
be
those pods, like send you down in one of those air ponds. You just
like the glass.
Yeah.
Thing?
Same as a cage, basically,
no
right?
chance.
Because you
hard pass.
you risk that they break.
Exactly.
They ain't breaking.
What kind of
live
sharks,
a little bit.
What kind of sharks are we talking about here?
The worst kinds, whatever they are.
Like
Great whites.
like blacktip reef sharks.
Yes.
Then maybe that's fine.
Hammerhead sharks.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about
worst kind of shark? He doesn't know.
Nobody can hear. Fabian. Do we want to talk about Rivian here, because we also
I do.
we got some numbers for Rivian.
A whale shark, he said.
That came. I'm just going to keep going. That came in much lower than expected. So red is deliveries, blue is production for. It says 2024, but that should say 2023, I assume. Q4. So quarter over quarter, red, not good. Blue, okay.
But look at the blue. Isn't that the year?
That's quarter over quarter. So Q4 versus Q3,
right.
They made more and are continuing to make more quarter after quarter after quarter, but deliveries slowed a ton.
Okay, so the thing about deliveries is I was sort of reading about this. They said it in the fourth quarter that they actually expected slower deliveries as Amazon and some of the big, you know, Amazon's still buying those trucks,
yeah.
You know, and Amazon's paused that to get all their deliveries through because of Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to correct itself. What I wrote down though was, and correct me if I'm wrong, their year over year, their expected number on the year surpassed because they had a great Q.
Production, yes.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right? But the idea was exactly is that there's no demand. They might have all of these cars produced.
Yeah.
And this goes back to all those problems that we used to have. Remember we used to talk about something called the supply chain, where these companies couldn't get enough steel, they couldn't get enough chips. We're gonna talk about Mobileye. I'm gonna slap a fail on.
It's not good.
Right there, yeah. And I think that's just, it's the same story.
Yeah.
Mobileye, they didn't get as much demand from Volkswagen, Rivian, some of their customers, as far as the chips that are going into these vehicles. The problem with Rivian, I don't think there is a problem. It's a really nice looking truck. I really like it. I think they have more in the pipeline, more coming. They do have Amazon as sort of a kind of a floor there. The thing about it is, it's interest rates. Unless some of these car companies are going to, remember there used to be GM financing and you used to go in and you could get like zero financing for this car and blah, 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 just take it off the lot. Like, well, you know, we'll cover every, now that's expensive for a lot of these companies because of where rates are.
Yeah.
So I feel like until we solve this rate problem, I just don't see that people are going to be going out and buying new vehicles, man.
No.
I mean, and I'm not.
Who's buying a $100,000 vehicle and paying 6% interest? It's crazy.
I mean, even though we made all this money in the market, people don't look at it like that. People think that when you make money, we talked about getting a raise. When you get a raise, you just spend more money. It's not like you save more.
No.
So the thing is that with these rates, all of us are hearing rates are coming down, rates are coming down. I think when they do come down and people see an attractive financing offer, then I think they buy that new car. People buy new cars for no reason.
Yeah.
Cars will last, like people say, oh, these Volkswagens will go 300,000 miles. I'm going to get bored of my car. No, but this is what happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We are such a consumer-based economy and we want more. We want all the shiny things. Rivian's a nice shiny thing. People will buy the vehicle. People will buy the Cybertrucks. EVs are the thing of the future. Pricing is going to be an issue, but the rates need to come down so people will feel better about their purchase.
Agreed. I have just one thing on Rivian, and that was the simple fact, or two things, I guess it is. One is I was reading a really interesting article from an analyst suggesting that this upcoming debut of the R2 platform is going to be, and they quoted it as their like Tesla Model 3 moment. If you remember, before the Model 3 was announced and then shown to the world, Tesla was running into the same issue with, they could produce as many as they want, but the demand wasn't there because the price point was still higher than most. But as soon as the Model 3 hit the pavement,
people are like, oh my God.
Couldn't get enough of them.
It's like affordable.
So this R2 platform that we're supposed to see, he even said as soon as January. So the R1 is the SUV in the truck.
Right.
R2 is supposed to be smaller, more affordable, less luxury, less cost involved on their side because it's less luxury, less tech involved as well. So
I like that.
We'll see. We're supposed to see that. I think they said Q1. It might even be January or February that we get a preview.
We talked about BYD and why they've been so aggressive and so able to produce that many cars because there's the demand there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Rivian just opened up another plant, in Georgia and stuff like that. I feel fine about all of this, man. I mean, they don't really have the UAW issues yet. That's some of these other.
And let's be honest, it would be great to have another company to talk about here because right now it's just Tesla and all.
Some like
Tesla.
Coke, some like Pepsi. I mean, it's just a matter of figuring out. Some like blueberry donuts. Oh, by the way, shout out to, we had that great CompuCare team or whatever that was, sent us all of those donuts, and that was absolutely fantastic. I want to give a big shout out.
We got a full dose of Krispy Kreme donuts Friday afternoon.
Yeah, you got to stay away from those. But anyways, yeah, thank you for that. And I'm just, this leads perfectly into make sure you watch us every single day at Trader TV Live. Like, subscribe, and all of that. Follow all of us at Trader TV, Brandon, Neil, Sean, so on and so forth on all of the platforms. But yeah, no, look, I think you're 100% right, man. More competition, it's better for the consumer, and it's just better for everybody. I mean, we already know path. You just got to say your path, stick to it. I love the R2. I think that could be a great opportunity. So let's go with it, man. Toyota released a Prius. They sold a whole crap load of those.
Have you seen the new one, by the way?
No. You look impressed.
It's actually really nice.
Yeah, I like Toyota.
Like, doesn't look anything like what the prior generation.
Are we worried about? So let's talk about this. You buying Tesla on that dip? We talked about. Let me just call up a chart. I mean, what do you think? Because I did this with Danielle Shea the other day, and she really still likes it. And the thing is look at this, man. We talked about this. It's 4 years at the same spot. Well, 3 years. This is 2021.
Yeah.
This is Christmas of 20. So this is the beginning of 2021. Now you're beginning of 2024. 3 years, and we're at the same price here and here. Heart attack this way, heart attack that way. At the end of the day, you wind up in the middle.
It's a heart attack every day if you are a Tesla owner. Am I buying it here?
Maybe not here, but let's just say we go down 10%.
Like 200.
Yeah.
200, 175 to 200, somewhere in that.
I like it too.
Yeah. All right. Actually, just on a Model 3, the only concern I have on a Model 3 is winter in Canada.
Ooh la la. But it is all-wheel drive, the one I'm getting.
But you made a great point in the sense that you know what the distance is that you go every day. It's well within reachable lengths for a charge. There was someone who used to work for us here on the show who had a friend. Long story short, they went up north for the weekend in the winter.
Out of the station?
She had to stop in Barrie. Like they couldn't even get from Toronto to Barrie, and had to charge. It's like 40 minutes or something, like on a single charge.
Dude. They must.
But I think they were going to Huntsville or Muskoka or something. Anyways.
Oh, the other thing about that is, the other reason why I like Tesla too is because of the charging stations.
Exactly.
Because a lot of these other makers, Volkswagen, I think there's now 12 or 13 or so adapters for the adapters.
Exactly. I like that.
Like that. They've adopted the adapter situation. So what I'm saying is that there must be something. I don't know. Tesla has to make money somewhere there. I don't know exactly how it works.
I don't know if they pay a fee or a cut off each charge cost, maybe.
That might be it. Or do they just, every single car that's produced, maybe because they're using the
adapter for the.
They've adapted
the adapter for the adapter.
The adapter.
Anyway. Also, a new technology that I was reading an article about for Tesla was pads. Apparently, they're working on pads.
Where you just put your car on.
It's literally like a phone wireless charger. So you drive into your garage at night.
Ooh la la. Don't
even have to touch it. Charges the battery. And
that's another revenue spot for them because they're charging you. And that's what Randy said to me. He's like, dude, okay, so if you get the car, you're going to have to pay another couple grand to get that charger built into your
Yes.
amp, you know, and all that kind of stuff. You need a certain voltage, and you might not have room for it on your panel. And I was just like,
there's a great video on YouTube. If anybody, don't go right now, but there's a great video on YouTube. Watch after this. MKBHD did a complete review of. He has the solar roof. On the Fisker? No, on his house. Oh. The Tesla solar roof on his house. And he said by far the biggest draw on the power that comes from the roof is charging his Model S Plaid at night when he gets home.
So, of course.
So he said, I mean, it's really great, really, really detailed. But at the end of the month, end of the year, he was still well within what the roof was producing for power.
And we talked about solar, and that's actually a sector that I kind of like. But again, with rates becoming a question mark, it's so expensive. I don't know if
I think it was
talked about what
200,000.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a lot.
Like, dude, like my monthly electric bill, I don't know why it's so low. I have gas all through it. Like our dryer is gas, the stove is gas. Like the only thing electric is just like internet, like everything, the normal stuff, the TV. But we're on like $100 a month. Like I don't even spend that much a month on electricity. What do you? Oh, you guys are probably all in on condo fees, maybe.
No, it's not. It's extra,
so
but it's not much.
Electric?
It's $80.
Yeah, I was gonna say
80, 90
south of
bucks,
$100.
like
So, so there's no way. I can't wrap my head around spending like multiple six figures on something like that.
No, that was the cost of the roof.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the initial cost. I think he said when all was said and done, it was going to take him 10 years before it would pay for itself.
Okay, that kind of math is okay for me.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. 10
and
years.
if you're going to stay in the same house, then.
But like if me and you were spending $100 a month, that's 100 times, that's $1,200 a year.
Yeah.
We have to.
It takes a while.
It takes a while.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. We're getting on here. Apple, big mover.
We're not even close.
Yeah, that's fine. Apple, a big mover this week. There was a couple of things that came out. There was a couple of downgrades. There was a couple of negative comments in the sense that growth is a problem. This just highlights exactly that. I mean, it's still 1.4 billion user growth. So we had such a huge move, as we said, for the overall NASDAQ for individual tech names for Apple into the end of the year. Yes, there's going to be profit taking. How much of this, from a concern standpoint, is simply all these analysts want more at lower prices, so let's downgrade the stock?
I've always thought that. I've always thought that that's every single time I see a downgrade, and I was doing this all throughout the pandemic and everything, supply chain issues. Like if Apple has supply chain issues, then what do other people have? I mean, let's be perfectly honest, Foxconn, like these guys are well connected. They know how to make the phones. They know how to get the parts. They know how to get the supplies. So for me, I mean, here's the chart. I wrote this down. Its biggest one-day drops in September came on that Barclays downgrade. They talked all about everything, man. They're worried about them hitting this demand spot. They're worried about the wearables. We have that ban on it's lifted, but they still got to figure out the smartwatch deal here. The problem is they missed on 3 of 4 quarters last year, and the stock still rallied 50%. So the question is why are people buying the name? And I think it's exactly what you said. They have a huge user base.
Yeah.
You know the one thing that Apple did not discuss at all last year? There's a few things. That's obvious. AI.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Why did we not? So listen, like.
And we heard about that at the beginning of the year.
Brendan, we don't even know what, like, Baidu and Ernie? Like, why do we, why do we, like, imagine what happens when Apple goes, oh, by the way.
Here's our entrance.
Right,
into
tomorrow we are one smooth update over the air, which they obviously know how to do. Sign up in the beta environment or whatever, but we've got an AI that is going to annihilate.
Crush everything.
Gemini, Bard, Llama, Drama Mama, whatever's coming
Ernie
out.
And Bert.
Where's Bert? Where's Oscar? All these guys. Now, I don't know if they're actually going to come up with anything, but I just think I've got the phone, I've got the watch, my TV at home, although I still do have, this is in the bedroom now though, the NVIDIA
Shield.
Shield.
Yeah.
But my main TV is Apple TV now because everything's attached, right? You hear the news just over the last little while, TikTok and Peloton. That said, that stock up 20%. But what I'm getting at, Brendan, come on, you ride bikes.
Yes.
What are those bikes called again?
Spinning.
Spinning bikes.
Yes.
Peloton has a high quality bike, which you've been on.
Yes.
Okay, so stop the hate. Okay, the idea about it is that as AI comes in, I think that's something that they could drop on all of us that we're not really talking about until this podcast.
And we heard some rumblings that this has already started from Apple in the sense that there was, I think it was Bloomberg that reported it initially, they're already looking to make deals with news outlets on sharing content. And
that was the other thing, right?
And paying them to share content for specifically this reason. So yes, they are working on a large language model. When we see said large language model remains to be seen. But Apple historically has been the company that they're never first, but when they do show up to the party, everybody just clears the room. Yeah.
I mean, they could buy Peloton for just a joke. These guys have $62 billion as of their last quarter in cash. If that cash is earning 5%, which they're paying everybody, by the way, in their Apple, they dropped Goldman though, didn't they? There's a new bank supporting.
They were going to. They haven't yet. Okay, they were going to. There was a note actually this morning about that.
Yeah, I remember
you can get more interest or something on a savings account connected to Goldman Sachs through your Apple Card.
Right.
But that's only until they wind it down, which is going to be.
Bank will
it was going to be later this year. I think that they
it's
go.
It's just another avenue there where Apple's just making more money, bringing people into the ecosystem. I like Apple, and I honestly think, I mean, Apple never even talks about cryptocurrency. I mean, a lot of these places don't talk about cryptocurrency, but I'm always thinking about Apple, and then I kind of think about Elon Musk a little bit here, not with a connection to Apple, but what he's trying to do with X. And that is build it into like a Tencent, where it's an everything kind of an app where you can do payments on there. You can store your IDs, your tickets when you go to movies or concerts, and is all in the app, right? Like right now you can just put your stuff into a wallet. It's very similar. You could do that on Google as well.
Yeah.
I just wonder what if Apple gets involved in something like that, where they have an app that's like an all-in everything. It has Apple TV there. It has your podcasts. Because right now you got to click on a different app for podcasts, a different app for music, a different app for your TV, everything is different. Your wallet's different. I wonder if they can bring everything together, and you know what that's going to create? The largest business in tech right now is advertising.
Exactly.
And the minute you can start advertising and show those ads to everybody and get everybody looking at the same place, whether or not you're wearing a watch, whether or not you're looking up, like I said, tickets, texts, whatever you're doing, iMessaging, phone. Did you know this stat? It was Instagram.
No.
Instagram, there are more videos and images shared in DMs than there is on stories and reels.
Is that on what's the time frame?
Now,
No, but daily, weekly?
I don't know. Current use.
Just ongoing.
Right. So like today, for example, there will be 1 million images shared on DMs, but only 800,000 or whatever on reels and stories. But they're only monetizing, starting to, reels and stories right now. My thing is this. People are using Instagram and WhatsApp. This is why I like Meta, which we're talking about Apple. I think if they can figure out how to monetize DMs, if people don't realize this is what's happening, like Snapchat, and Fabian can justify this, there's a lot of people sending messages, like it's used as a chatting. People don't send texts anymore.
Fabian, are you on Snapchat?
Yeah.
We're getting the nod.
No, but what I'm getting at is, for these apps, people are sending messages. It's not about necessarily scrolling through the timeline of these apps. It's sending messages back and forth through. I still text my wife, and we have iPhones, so we use iMessage. But there's a lot of people connected across the world that don't want to share phone numbers, that don't want to share email addresses or things like that. They're simply connecting via some of these apps. So what I'm thinking is there's a lot of money that can be brought to the forefront here from companies looking to advertise on these platforms.
100%.
And if they can figure out how to monetize DMs, then watch out now.
We just saw Google roll their podcast platform into YouTube.
Ooh la la.
So along those same lines, right?
It's just such a major business, this advertising business, that's all.
And it's not going to stop. A couple of things. I wanted to talk about Bitcoin, but I mean, we got that story at the end of the day. Again, guys, we're recording this on Friday after the close. If you're watching on Saturday, hi, how are you? Hit subscribe, hit the like button as well down below. SEC going to vote next week on the structure and the rules behind ETFs that are going to be listed on, obviously, exchanges. Bitcoin did put in, here, let me grab, one more thing on Apple, actually, before we go. I did actually put out a bid today.
On?
Apple. I didn't get hit, but
No, I heard you say that.
I did put out a bid just below
smart.
180. So I think, you know, if your timeline is years and months and way out in the future.
You put at 180 even.
No, below.
Oh, below.
Just below. I was hoping to get like a flush off that jobs number, but I think you buy it. I think you buy it all the way down to 170.
Let me give you something to think about. 34 buys, 14 holds, 5 sells. Not bad. More people like it than don't.
Exactly.
You know, so I think it's worth it. But news for you, my friend. That is the lowest ratio since 2020.
I was going to say that's a lot of.
Yeah, there are a few. It's 14 holds.
Right.
And they got downgraded today. Did you say it was Davidson or somebody? It was 4 sells, and then today someone put another sell on it. So I just think it's easy pickings. They think the market's going down. They start it with just downplaying Apple.
When this year do we get the all clear in the way of
January 31st?
Market's fine. You think end of the month?
Yeah, I know. I think
I'm going to go out to that first cut. If we get a cut,
January 31st.
No, March.
Oh,
if it comes in March, yeah, I'm going to go out to March.
Me too. Okay.
I think we get a bit of a flush out to March, and then once we get to March, we find a bottom and start grinding back to November is going to be the next checkpoint with the election. There'll be a ton over the summer to digest with the election. Once we get to November, it'll be.
What if we get like an updated dot plot or something? That's why I said the 31st. I just feel like we're going to have. We talked about this at the beginning of the podcast. We've already got these job numbers. We're going to wait for a few more data points coming through in the rest of January. I just really, really want to take to heart what Powell says on the 31st. I really want to believe him, and I think we can.
Yeah.
And I just think that he could signal that, yeah, this is what we're doing. I think we can clear up the expectations on that CME Fed rate tool. And then once we clear that out, then I think you could get a buy opportunity at that point, or what I think could happen is a relatively decent flush, and then we get filled in the 170s on Apple. You know what would be really cool? You talked about Bitcoin, and we're going to get the charts up, we're going to get all that going. Wouldn't it be really cool if there was like a tool that would give the odds of that SEC yay or nay, and then we could trade Bitcoin? like as you go, oh my God, Sean, it just went to 90% yes, and then, oh no, someone just opened their mouth and Gensler just said this, and now all of a sudden it's 40%, and then you could trade Bitcoin like that? That would be pretty cool. But
that, I'm sure, I would be shocked if that doesn't already exist in this world, but anyways, here's the headline. Well, yeah, I wanted to show the price action just real quick. Again, Friday afternoon, there was this move. This is a 15-minute chart, so we got a little spike right at the end of the equity session, and then it did come right back down. But there was a huge algo, obviously, watching for any kind of language in the sense of SEC and Bitcoin in the same sentence. And that came at, I think it was around 350 or something Friday afternoon. So they are going to vote next week on the structure and some of the rules that are going to be involved in these ETFs, which, as this is saying, is quote unquote a major hurdle for clearing these ETFs. We've heard from Kevin O'Leary, we've heard from a ton of different individual investors suggesting exactly, suggesting that this is going to be a sell the news event.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
No, but I mean, it's just like, it's the same thing as the market. I have GBTC up here as well. I mean, the thing is like, it's the same thing about selling off the stock market at the beginning of January. It's like, look at this move up, man. Look at this move up in this. You know, will the GBTC turn itself around as well? Will that have to come off the OTC markets? And we're going to have to wait to see, but it's been a huge exuberance, huge move to the upside. And I just wonder if, why are people buying something? We've seen, I mean, look, here's another example. What about Uber? Right? I mean, it's the same kind of move. Boom to the upside. What's changed for them? Nothing. They haven't come out with a new report. Yeah. They haven't done anything. But guess what? They were added to the S&P 500. Yeah. Huge catalyst, right? Then
Tesla, same thing happened to Tesla.
Yeah, and I think pretty much every company. Yeah. So I think that there's a run up for Bitcoin. I thought when you said you put a bid in, I thought it was going to be for Bitcoin.
No.
Honestly, I think you can safely buy, let that news hit, wait for a bottom. That's why I don't think you put it like a stink bid per se. Let it bottom out. I wouldn't expect this thing, and unfortunately I don't have a chart that I can aggressively look at here.
Here's mine.
Okay, let's look.
This is a 15-minute chart though for Bitcoin.
No, what about?
You want a daily?
Yeah, like the thing is that I'm just lazy. I don't have it on this screen. I'm thinking like where, like, so let's look at that. Where do we think?
42.
So that's where you are right there?
41, 200.
I want to go lower. What's that next consolidation? Down,
40.
down, low, low, low.
Oh,
low.
down there. 36, 38.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, look at all the back and forth there. Volume there, back and forth, people undecided, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it bumps up. Why does it bump up? Probably because we're getting closer to this date. Why is it moving? Because it sounds more positive, and that article you showed bumped it up, and now it's come back in. I think you're going to get a huge move up. People will breathe, breathe, breathe. Then the move will come down. People will take some profit, and then we'll see who has weak hands or not. Who's selling? Who's selling?
Here's my question. There's who knows how many applications for this ETF to be approved. So there's going to be more than one. A, B. Have these companies already started buying? Because they're going to have to, if it's going to be an ETF, they're going to have to hold a certain amount of Bitcoin to operate an ETF. Right. So is this move that we're looking at on this chart from November into the new year, is this move all of these companies buying in advance of the approval and being able to hold then after?
Yes. I think.
So then it is selling.
No, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, if I was running
Makes
an
a lot
ETF,
of sense, right?
And I want,
like,
if you want to launch an ETF worth that has like $100 million under management or something, and it's a Bitcoin ETF, you better hold $100 million of Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Or else you're not going to track the movement of the said coin. Look at Coinbase. Come over to my chart right here, Fabian, Ramin. No, look at this. I mean, again, this is Coinbase. Sure, technically it bounced off the 200. Fantastic. We love this. Like, if I was more into Coinbase, this just looks fantastic. But then if you close your eyes and you kind of say, let's just stop looking at it from here, you don't expect this amazing move up. And I had Crypto Bourbon, you talked about it, O'Leary, Nally Burnell, we've got everyone. Make sure you follow us at TraderTV.live for the best of everything. Thing is that...
We should have Natalie Burnell on.
Yeah, we should have Natalie Burnell back on. Get that, Brendan?
No, like on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Agreed.
On it.
On it. Especially now, and especially with this news. Let's maybe wait till episode 11 or something
actually happens.
The thing about it is that they were talking about these ETFs or these applications writing on it that they were going to use Coinbase to go in to buy because they don't trust Binance. There's CZ's in trouble. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. They're obviously not going to be.
And is it the same thing then?
That's why I think that
Coinbase
had this move.
Yeah. All right.
I expect to sell the event in Coinbase and in Bitcoin, but then I think it's worth buying. I just would rather buy the coin than the exchange.
Agreed. Mobileye got absolutely murked to 28.50. This is a daily chart. It was a huge bounce today. I mean, this was a gap to the downside and then a huge bounce today, but they come out, cut their full year 23, their Q4 revenue across the board, full year 24 revenue outlook to the downside. You hit on it briefly there a little bit ago with supply chain being an issue. This is it's not a LiDAR company, but it's a self-driving company essentially. Yep. So there's a lot of tech involved. There's a lot of materials needed to produce said tech. It's not good for Mobileye.
No, the worst part is that they're sitting on a bunch of inventory. So unfortunately, we saw even normal consumer companies, Brendan, like Nike and Lululemon and things like that. Lululemon not as much; they can sell whatever they want. But when Nike had inventory problems, they got crushed. They're sitting on too much inventory. And when you're Mobileye right now and you have a 20% short float, people are sort of anticipating potential problems. Not only that, you come up to levels, like I don't know why Mobileye was failing up here, failing again, failed there, and they failed hard every time. It's not like they dropped in and then they were bought up hard just the same way. So they were in this big sort of, and I can't even go back that far because it's a recent IPO and it's been a great IPO.
Yeah, I have the chart up. Just go to my screen and you can see the entire thing. So that's the entire thing.
Right, so that's my entire thing too.
No, but going back to, thanks. But going back to the actual
you just have it.
Open price is right here, 26.80, 26.50.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So Actually, you know what? It dipped down into 20. Oh, it only dipped down to $25 actually. So it was really loved. And again, it's in the right space. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
And if you want to get the picks and shovels instead of the cars themselves, this would be something to buy. And I don't know what the competition's like in this space, but again, if you're going to be sitting on too much inventory, especially when you're a tech company, what happens in tech is that they're forever changing.
Yeah.
There's gonna be another company that's gonna be able to make these chips faster, gonna make them more efficiently, and maybe even Mobileye is as well. What they've done is overproduce in anticipation that Rivian and that Volkswagen would deliver more cars, therefore increasing the orders, and they came out and said flat out, we don't have enough orders to fill the inventory that we currently have. So once again, we go with a bang, the shorts win on that one, down 20% short float, sitting on old inventory until we see these cars get back up to the upside, and until rates figure themselves out, Brendo,
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many new cars being bought. We've seen Carvana make the move back up to the upside, not recently, but it was hitting let me see, CVNA, only because I didn't look at it in the last couple of days, because
Who cares?
No, it's not that who cares. It's a lot of people care, Brendan. Come on, man. A lot of people like
About Carvana?
I think so. I mean, especially in our business,
You're gonna buy a car out of a vending machine?
No, I'm not. I've never even seen a Carvana. I would love to see a Carvana vending machine. You know when you go up the DVP, there's like a BMW dealership there.
Those
There's another one, and
yeah.
they show them in the. It's like
Well, there's that one at Queen now, DVP and Queen.
DVP, yeah.
Yeah, and Queen.
Okay, I just meant like,
No, I'm
when
just-
you're going up the Don Valley.
I'm in my mind putting myself.
Right,
at-
yeah, me too.
at where
So
it is.
I like looking at it. That looks really cool. And I think it would be kind of cool to buy one out of.
But those are just like, that's just on the second floor of a building. Like that's
I
not
know, it's not a
necessarily
vending machine per se. I
Anyway,
don't know. The thing is though about it is look at this Carvana chart again. I was
see
just
your
going to say
Fabian,
it's
don't
still
worry.
dropping down right now. I like this, and the reason why I say this is used cars versus new cars.
Right.
If rates are going to still remain elevated,
I see you.
potentially people will buy cheaper cars. What do we have to wrap this up? What, Ramin's got a date or something? What's going on?
Yeah,
Oh, Fabian has.
Fabian has a date. Okay.
Ooh la la.
In that case, buy Mobileye or no?
No.
All right. Onward. Oil's up. Who cares?
What about
There's-
you? Buy Mobileye or not?
No, definitely not. Not yet. Not yet. At some
Never.
point. At some point, but not yet.
Maybe, yeah.
Um,
Magna could be a good one for the picks and shovels.
Oil's up. Lots of global stuff.
Oh, God.
Who cares? We had Disney on this list, but who cares about Disney?
I would say I'm almost the opposite on that one. I almost think, you know why? Because the thing about oil is I'm actually pretty disappointed. Do you see what I'm doing now? This is a very, very casual look. I'm disappointed in. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Oh no, I'm not doing this on purpose.
No, never. Never.
Stretch. When production's telling you to do this, that means stretch.
Yeah.
So that's what Fabian's telling me. Okay. So no, I was gonna say I was just a little disappointed in the price of USO and everything. I thought oil, with all of this back and forth with these wars with Russia, Ukraine,
Production.
with China possibly coming into a problem, with the fact that looks like we're going to have a soft landing and have maybe already had one, that, you know, this global sort of recession is maybe not going to hit. That's generally good for oil. It's good for production. I was just going to say that I think oil is going to be a very, very interesting story. But for right now, we've already showed you the XLEs in the same spot. USO, oil's got to break above 77 or 78 or break that 70 bottom to get interesting. Disney, on the other hand, Brendo, I actually kind of like some of that talk. Now, you've had, and the notes I made about this is that Value Act also sat in on the CRM. They got one seat when CRM. There was talks about a year and a half ago that there was going to be some activist takeover also in CRM, and they weren't happy with the way that was moving.
remember.
And then it was 100% last year, Salesforce. Yeah. So I just think that Disney needs a shakeup, and I just think it's about time that starts to happen, and it is happening.
I mean, Trian has been attempting to do this for years.
And now Value Act is there completely.
But they haven't been successful yet.
Look at the chart.
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? That's how we're supposed to be
Disney.
trading. I say the same way, bro. I have 2 young kids. I haven't taken them to Disney.
Right, I do not.
I'm like a failed father, right? I haven't
record.
done that. That's crazy. But look at the chart. Let's just talk about what it is right now. This doesn't, sure, it's down.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. Like,
Trying what? We're not wrapping this up. Not until we're done, Brendan. People want to know about Disney, not.
please tell them, Sean.
Okay. There's not too many stocks right now. We've already seen Apple. There's a lot of these names that are right now trying to bounce off the 100, the 200, the 50. This is happening right now for Disney. I think this actually looks pretty healthy. It seems like it wants to hold right now. I'd expect with all the turmoil and everything right now happening, a lot of these companies trying to get back into some of these November lows. I don't think it gets down here. I am nervous if we break 90, but I'm really interested to see if we break 90 with any real velocity. I think Disney can right the ship here. I want them to sell ABC. I want them to get rid of ESPN or figure out this ESPN bets thing. I like gambling moving forward. I like the sporting side of it. I like theme parks. They continue to work, but they're too expensive. So again, Disney works, but something has to happen.
February 7th earnings as well for Disney. Keep that in mind. One word answer.
Buy.
Symbol. Anyways, you buying anything this week?
Stocks?
Coming up. Yeah.
No.
What are we talking about? Cars?
I thought maybe. We're just talking about Disney there. I thought maybe
so you're not buying.
No. The only thing is, so we'll call this right now. We talked about this last week. I talked about Palantir. It's here way faster than I thought it would be. It's a big move down. Last week we were talking about this thing. This thing was $18. Give it a couple days down. Well, 18. Now you're down here to $15, $16. Yeah. I think Palantir is a buy somewhere in here near 15. So I do have a bid there. I'm buying Palantir at 15, and I do think we can get that next week. Okay. So to answer your question, that would be the first dip zone for me, and/or Tesla. Tesla could be down that 10%, Brendo. Then me and you are looking at that $200 level again.
Agreed.
So I don't want to say that I'm panicking. And then as far as the ETFs are concerned, I really still like this XLV, and I'm waiting for it to come back a little bit into this.
And that's been the problem.
$30 level, $35 level.
It still looks great. XLK. I sold a tiny bit on, what was that, Tuesday? That day, Tuesday, just below 190. I might just buy it right back.
Don't, dude.
It's at.
This is the worst thing you could do.
Why?
Because it's like you're just selling a tiny bit. I feel like to make back the 2%.
Yeah.
Is that?
But if you're
I just worry that we could fall further. That's all.
That's fine. I'll buy more.
Okay.
If your time frame is forever.
Here comes the money.
No, but if your time frame is forever.
Right. I agree. Dollar cost average.
Why?
Of course.
Why? I just took a little bit off.
I just wonder when you're selling.
It was $100.
I know.
In the money. I just have a rule. If it's $100 in the money, I'm selling some. Anyway, so okay. XOK, you said Palantir. Let's go on.
Two.
We have a way.
Wait, Brendan paused there for way too long. He's delaying time.
We have a tradition around here to wrap things up. We talk about one good thing.
This ready to go.
One good thing.
This is going to be at least 10
One good thing can be whatever you want, trading-wise, life-wise, food-wise. Tell me your one good thing.
I need to get mine loaded up.
Okay, I'll go first. Because I like our production crew.
It happened too fast.
I am tomorrow morning going skiing for the first time in this year. I went a couple times last year, but I haven't talked about this a lot on the show. I grew up skiing.
Yes.
As any
major
forced habit because that's another story, because my parents were really into it, but I started skiing when I was 3 years old. I skied competitively for 10 plus years of my life.
Ooh la la.
Got away from it for 10 plus years of my life.
I'm going to Google Brendan Wicken skiing after this.
It was way before the internet was even created. So
that's probably true.
Yeah. It probably won't even be on there. But anyways, I got away from it for way too long. 10
What's the highest?
Years. I'm happy to be.
I didn't know about this competitive skiing.
Yeah, I raced for a long time. I mean, it was like a provincial level. Yeah, it was like a provincial.
Congratulations, that's sick.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lifestyle.
So your one good thing is being back on the
No, I wanted to say we live in Canada. It's easy to get down in the winter when there's no daylight, there's no warmth, there's no sunshine for a long time. It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
We live in Canada. We have to embrace, the weather and the climate and get out, enjoy winter sports. Give me yours.
I mean, we did it again. Like as if we had no idea what these were. Like
no, we don't talk to
So look at mine, man. Another winter sport. I'm very, very proud of this. So I'm a season ticket holder for the Toronto PWHL team.
I was reading about this.
Yeah, and we went to the first game, the very first professional women's hockey game ever played.
That's awesome.
We went to the game. My daughter met pretty much all of the players. And the thing is like this Sarah Nurse, who's the one on the far right there. Like that's now my daughter's idol. Like her number's number 20, and I'm getting like a little bit of goosebumps now because it just means a lot to. And again, it is about equality. To be perfectly honest with you, it's like when the WNBA finally hit.
Yeah.
It's like my daughter really loves playing hockey, and it's like now she has
Someone to look to.
Yeah, and
that's
just that venue.
That's
and
huge.
she's not, whether or not anyone becomes, here in Canada we have a problem where the minute our kid, and probably with your parents as well, they thought you were going to be a world-class skier.
Yeah.
We all think that our kids are going to enter the NHL when the chances of that, and same thing here with the PWHL. But now it's exactly what you said, it's role models.
Yeah.
It's about meeting these girls. And we don't get any, you go to a Leaf game, good luck seeing Austin Matthews, good luck. Like, my daughter has pictures of these girls hugging her and things like that. And it's just, for me, it's really special.
Where do they play?
Out of Mattamy, the old Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh, okay.
And Ottawa, I think,
Shout
is
out
the
to
big...
Carlton Street.
Yes. Yeah, shout out to Loblaws.
Loblaws.
Owns that right now.
No, that's bad.
It's the old Ryerson. I forget. It's called Toronto...
Something or other.
Something
I know
now. They got
on
rid
the
of
second
name.
floor.
Polytechnic? Something?
Metropolitan. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
So shout out to those dudes. Toronto Metropolitan University. Anyways, it was a great time. It was great access. We're going to all the games. We're super proud of it. And yeah, that's my one good thing. And let's go.
Enjoy.
All for everything. Let's go.
Let's wrap it up. Episode 8 in the books. Hope you enjoyed it. Come join us every single day. The market is open on the live show as well on YouTube. At TraderTV.live, wherever you find anything these days, we will be there. Episode 8 in the books. Great job. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Bang.
Bye, y'all.